Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Sunday, October 13th, 2024, and today's topic will be using simple shapes to draw from imagination. And that's really the only idea I have, since it's going to be from imagination. But it should be fun. So if this is your first video of mine, I sketch every day and I set a 5-minute timer, and I usually do more than 5 minutes. But if you're just starting out with a daily sketching habit, then 5 minutes is a good start every day. So I started a 5-minute timer, by the way, and if you are returning, welcome back. So let's do some sketching. So basic shapes are, you got your triangle, you've got circle, you've got a square, and a rectangle is basically a square. Now, we can also create forms. So out of a triangle, you can get a pyramid. Just draw the other side of it. And then a circle. To make it a sphere, you just need to give it a shadow. For the pyramid, or the cube, square, make it into a cube by just giving it another side. Same with the rectangle. Just give it another side to it. And then you can move it in 3D space. So with the triangle, if you give it the other side but make it like that, then you've moved it in 3D space. Circle is basically just rolling around, so you could make the shadow thinner. With the cube, so draw the square but at an angle, and you've got a cube. Same with the rectangle, just draw it at an angle. So first of all, these are all very basic and easy to draw. If you want to get better at drawing, this is the ingredients. Think of it as ingredients in cooking: salt, pepper, sugar, spices. So these are the basic building blocks, literally. And then you can, once you kind of get the idea of it, you can start to think about light and shadow. So just move this around a little bit. So just kind of, it's a pyramid, so. And then let's just pick one side to shade. Now, this is the kind of stuff that I would always draw on homework pages. And that's how you know who the art nerd in school is. And then could go this way, and it could be kind of crooked. It's all right. Just pick one side, kind of consistent. I'll do another video about shading. So I'm just kind of sticking with these, but like the sphere can be stretched. You can have it be more. That's 5 minutes. I'll start another one. And then you can kind of do the same thing with the shading. But this is a good way to doodle, to warm up. Triangle could be a cone, so triangular shape, give it a rounded base. So shade that in, and then the cube could be, you could give it more than one, like side. And then for a rectangle, maybe like just change the shape of it. So it's good to practice your line work and your shading. You can use a pencil or a color. So yeah, I mean, pretty much everything is gonna be built off of this. Another way to approach it, so just going back to the topic, using simple shapes to draw from imagination. So I mean, we've drawn stuff from imagination. And then next would be like, what if you took an idea for like a tree, for example, and thought of it as, well, let's think of it as like a spherical shape, because sometimes they look like that. Oh yeah, the cylinder would be the other. So a cylinder is a rectangle but with a circular base, kind of like the cone. So let's give it a circle for this tree, and then like a cylinder, and then stick with the same shading idea. And then if you took the circle but then made little circles, so break up the contour with smaller circle shapes, And then if you took the cylinder, the tree trunk, if you took that but then broke up the contour there, and then for the shadow, break up, still kind of keeping it circular, and then for the tree trunk, the same kind of thing. And fill in the shadow. You get a different kind of tree. Then you could take this and kind of combine different shapes so that you're doing the circular contour thing, but then you taper it a bit and still keeping it. So you're kind of combining the circle with the triangle shape. Same with this, like just kind of combining shapes. That's 5 minutes. I'll start another 5-minute timer. Just keep the light and shadow simple for now. Just have the light side and the dark side. For this, you could combine, what if you combined your basic rectangle that we did here, but then threw in some triangles, shapes. Let's make this into a triangle, triangles, and just shade one side of it. So start to get more of a tree, a realistic tree. If you feel like it needs more leaves, then just do a smaller version of what you did here. So now you added some more leaves. Like that. Just keep everything consistent, so you could add some on top here. And then there could be like a triangle for the branches. You can just keep adding details by sticking with the shapes, and then the form will be consistent. So just look at everything around you and think, I wonder how I would draw that as a simple shape. So that's how to do a tree. What about like a like a medieval tower? Because, oh yeah, I wanted to show you this picture. I made a community post. This is where I ended up with, and it was pretty fun. So yeah, this was all from imagination, no sketch or anything. I just drew it, although it was sketchy. I mean, I'd like to do one where I think the sketchiness goes with the style, the subject matter, but I mean, you don't have to do it this sketchy. And I kind of want to do some that isn't. And also for this page, I mentioned that I wanted to draw a comic, so I might just kind of use this page as practice for drawing a comic, just different panels. But I wanted to show you that. Let's see. I believe it's almost been 10 minutes. Keep going for a few more sessions here. So yeah, let's kind of think about a medieval tower. So to me, if this were like building blocks, then you would have a rectangle, and then, well, that's the most basic tower. The coffee. So let's just, so as far as shading, I mean, it does affect the way it looks depending on the direction. But just, yeah, I mean, you could play around with that. Like, for example, when I do it this way, it seems more like stonework. So that's the basic. And then inside would be maybe smaller rectangles. So I find this helpful to understand what I'm drawing. And then since the topic is from imagination, you have to simplify it for yourself. And even if I were looking at reference, I would still simplify it. I would still think, how would I simplify this? So that's one kind of tower. And then you have like the cylinder tower. That's 5 minutes. I'll start another one. And then for the cylinder tower, you have the cone. And so I'm just going to pick basic shading. And you have a shadow. And then I'll go this way with the shading because it makes it look like it's more stonework. If you wanted to add a shadow, in general, well, it'll copy the shape, and in general, it is sort of the same, like I mean, it doesn't have to be exact, but in general. So it's sort of copying the same basic shape. It's an arrow. Close enough. Maybe round that off. Then you have like, you could play around with the proportions. So you could have a tower that kind of looks like this. It doesn't have to be a tower, it could be like a building. So have a bigger rectangle and then have a triangle, a smaller triangle, and then pick a side for the lighting. If you want to add some form, we could go like this. And really, the lines don't have to be that straight, or you could always straighten it up, like if you were to redraw it. And let's put some windows. Let's put a door. I'm just gonna keep the windows like this. Put a shadow. And then let's put a chimney. So yeah, from here, I mean, you could add details. You could look up some reference. Let's put a little attic. What else can we draw? What about some cars? They have a lot of shapes in them. So for a car, maybe there's different ways to start it. You could start with like where the people sit. Could be kind of like what we were doing with this irregular rectangle shape. Could have kind of like that. For now, we'll just keep the shading pretty basic, just on one side of it. And then draw another sort of irregular rectangle for the body. It's like a space car or a tank. Let's go ahead and draw the form here. That's the body. And then you need a door. So first, let's figure out the window. So that's 5 minutes. I'll start another one. And then inside, you've got some kind of seats. And then the door would open here, maybe kind of like that. That's where the people get out. Handles. And then the wheels will go within here, so it might be good to kind of get the shape, because the wheels are going to be basically inside of a square shape. And then give it thickness. The axle, the hub, and then of course this area becomes dark because that's where it's sitting inside. And some headlights. And the perspective could be off, but that's okay. Let's do one more thing. What if we drew a person, but with like basic shapes? Or maybe like a head. Well, I like to do the head as the face area as what is it? An ellipse. Yeah, I didn't have that up there. The ellipse. Sphere-ish. Put a shadow side here, but then we need to add something for like the cranium, so we'll add a sphere, and then that'll also be, we'll include that into the shadow. So you can start shading it right now. Then the neck is at an angle and it's a cylinder. The camera. And so pick a, kind of go with this shadow here, like it would match up with the shadow. The ear is like it's a rectangular form mostly, with stuff going on inside. But like when it's in shadow, I mean, you're not going to see the detail. So that's the basic head, how to draw the head right there. And then on the face, so since we placed the ear, we know where like the brow area, and so you can kind of sketch in the brow a little bit like that, like where they would be sitting. And next would be good to place the nose, so the ear kind of tells you where the top and the bottom of the nose. And then the nose is basically triangular. The lips are sitting on like a cylindrical shape of the mouth. So you can kind of draw a cylinder for the mouth. The lips go around that. That's 5 minutes. I'll do one more to wrap up this video. So the lips basically go around. You have the bottom lips, the upper lip. So the shading kind of follows that. For the cheekbones, they're kind of spherical. They can be. Just draw some spheres here. And then kind of dig out the eye socket area. And then just put shading under there, like inside there. And the eyebrows kind of have their own look. The forehead area kind of has a spherical look to it. That's basically how you draw a head, using simple shapes from imagination. You can think about how we did the shadows here. So the nose will kind of cast the same sort of shadow. And then everything else is just details. So as the last 5 minutes here is running out, I want to thank you for joining me for today's sketch routine. I want to thank you for supporting the channel. It's always appreciated. And until next time, keep on sketching.